In the past, the communication vehicles that exist today did not exist, but one thing is certain: every time Jesus Christ was about to pass through a city, the news soon spread. From all corners, even the neighboring cities found out, and soon a large crowd gathered there to see the Master. And once Jesus entered Jericho, he was crossing the city. And there in Jericho there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a rich man, chief of the tax collectors. And Zacchaeus, the tax collector, was not a 100% righteous man, a 100% honest man. But when he heard that Jesus was about to pass by, he determined in his heart that he would see Jesus anyway. The crowd in front of him didn't let him see because he was short, of short stature. However, he saw a wild fig tree full of thorns, but he didn't think twice. He then climbed this fig tree. And it was then that in Luke chapter 19, in verse 5, it says, "When Jesus arrived at that place, he looked up and said to him, 'Zacchaeus, come down quickly, I want to stay at your house today.' Then he quickly came down and received him with joy. All the people saw this and began to complain. He stayed in the house of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, 'Look, Lord, I am giving half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have extorted anything from anyone, I will return 4 times as much.' Jesus said to him, 'Today there has been salvation in this house, because this man is also a son of Abraham.'" Pay attention, Zacchaeus was not honest. If he extorted from someone, he knew that he had extorted. He knew he was a sinner. What those people did not understand, was that Jesus came precisely for sinners. Jesus knew that there was Zacchaeus, that he was not an honest man, but that he would leave us a great lesson with the story of Zacchaeus. He stayed in the house of a sinner, yes. But look, the Bible doesn't say that Jesus went there and asked him. Went there and questioned him. No. It says that Zacchaeus received Christ with joy. He stood up and he himself took the initiative and told the Lord that he would give half of his goods to the poor and that all the people he extorted, because he knew he extorted, he would return 4 times more. It was then that Jesus released the word. Today there was salvation in this house. Even though he was not an upright man, not an honest man, Zacchaeus received Christ. This is symbolic. Zacchaeus received Christ both into his life and into his home. The problem, dear ones, is that we are not welcoming Christ into our home. The problem is that we want to take everyone into our house, except the Lord Jesus. Do you know what is funny? It's just that even people who call themselves Christians don't take Christ into their homes. They get home and it seems like they transform, they look like someone else. They forget that they have to take Christ there. Sometimes not everyone in your house knows Christ. Sometimes not everyone in your house lives in the same faith. However, if you don't lead to Christ, who will? However, if you don't do your part, who will? Zacchaeus, he heard what Jesus was going through and he determined in his heart that at any cost he would see Christ. He wanted to see, he wanted to know Christ. He was a thirsty soul. And when Jesus then goes to him and says that he would stay at his house, he receives Christ with joy and takes him to his house. And Jesus didn't say, "There was salvation for you, Ezekiel." Was there salvation in your life? No. He said, "There was salvation in this house." Pay close attention. Your actions, your attitudes, the decisions you make, they influence and affect your home, your family. Start paying attention if it's not true. When you come home from work stressed, the environment changes. When you are not happy, the environment is not the same. Because, although one is happy, the other is not, and there is no harmony, no harmony. So, your choices influence your home. A bad choice you make can harm not only your life, but the life of your loved one, your spouse, your father, your son, your husband, your wife. Zacchaeus took Christ into his home. There was salvation in Zacchaeus' house because he took an initiative. There were several obstacles that tried to stop Zacchaeus. The size of Zacchaeus, the crowd, I imagine so many people, I imagine the size of the crowd that was there. A fig tree full of thorns. Zacchaeus didn't let anything stop him. Zacchaeus left nothing to stop him from seeing Christ. He not only saw Christ, he received Christ. His family received Christ. But how many times do we let obstacles come to stop us? What obstacles prevent us from taking Christ into our home? Are you ashamed to talk about Christ? Are you afraid of talking and they won't like it? That Sunday lunch, where everyone is there in your house and you are afraid of what they will think. There are people who even hide their faith for fear of what their family will think, for fear of what they will say, for fear of rejecting it. Dear, don't be like that. Zacchaeus, he took an initiative that affected his entire family, just as it also affected when Zacchaeus was there being dishonest, being flawed, because the crowd, this makes it clear, the crowd began to murmur. But wait, is he going to stay in the sinner's house? In other words, he became famous throughout the city of Jericho. Ah, the tax collector, Zacchaeus? No, he's already robbed a lot of people. It has deceived a lot of people, it has left a lot of people behind. He's rich, right? Good, but it's at our expense. Fame, imagine Zacchaeus' family, who had nothing to do with it. Imagine the children of Zacchaeus, the other children. Your father is a thief, your father is dishonest, your father harmed my father. Imagine the women talking to Zacchaeus' wife, your husband has to stop stealing from us, your husband has to stop damaging the city, your husband is dishonest. Imagine, dear, fame spread. This verse makes it clear that everyone had a certain view of Zacchaeus, everyone knew what he did. And it certainly affected his family. But when he makes a right decision, he regrets it, he fixes things to salvation in his house. Salvation enters your home. What are you waiting for to evaluate and analyze your attitudes? Could it be that your choices are not affecting your family in the same way that Zacchaeus' attitude affected his family? Aren't your wrong choices affecting the relationship within your home? The dialogue that no longer exists. Dear, it's time for you to take a stand. Zacchaeus made a decision, he took Jesus into the house. Zacchaeus repented of his wrongdoings and he made everything right. And because of this, salvation reached him and his family. Sometimes, God is waiting for your attitude so that salvation arrive inside your house. So that salvation comes within your family. Reach that lost son, that failure brother of yours. A life of failure, a life of sadness. What was the point of him being a rich man, but having a destroyed family, a ruined family? It was no use. May this message illuminate your mind, illuminate your home. Show you exactly what you've been doing. What needs to be changed, what has been done for you and what is affecting your family. Your family is a gift from God for you to take care of. Your family is a gift from God for you to love, for you to make the best decisions, for the influence to be positive on your family. You were the one God raised up and chose to free this house, to bring salvation there. But you have to decide. You have to choose. You have to leave behind wrong attitudes and bring Christ into your home, because that is how you and your home will serve the Lord. This is how you and your home will be a united family blessed by God. Put the names of your family members here in the comments, put your prayer request so that we can be praying for their lives, so that God can reach their lives. But don't forget, the biggest channel that God will use to reach your family is called you. You have to pray, you have to cry out, ask God, but the biggest channel will be you. It is you that God will use. So put yourself in position, don't let obstacles stop you, and take Christ into your home. This is how there will be salvation in your home. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. And leave your like so that more families can be reached and blessed. God bless you.